Happy Thursday. It is the Animal Experience. This is episode 26. I am Coriel Kramer. I am a metaphysical expert for animals and people. Shorter way of saying animal communicator. I am a seer. I'm a healer. I'm a teacher. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff. So it's a shorter way. It fits better on the business card. So, what I wanted to say is this is episode 26, and hey Jamie, nice to see you. Everyone who's joining, thank you first and foremost for taking a little time out of your day and watching little old moi on the live shows. I appreciate it. Those who watch later, I understand. And those who are listening later on the podcast, thank you, thank you, thank you. And on your YouTube videos, those are getting some play too, so I appreciate it. And I will be answering this question of how do animals see spaying and neutering? Now, this question I got to give props to Carrie Ann Gosling-Wyman for giving me this and suggesting this idea, because I'm always looking for new episodes, and you guys are giving me some great ideas. The animals are giving me great ideas as well, but what's happening is that hi Alessandra. What's happening is that it's great because I'm getting a chance to really ask your questions, to find out the answers you've always wanted to know. And I've been doing this for a little while, so I can't remember all. There are so many questions. There's so many things you want to know. I can't remember everything that I've learned. So you guys are kind of like bringing us stuff up. So I really appreciate that. So if you have an episode, an idea for an episode, shoot it to me either in an email through my website or message me through Facebook, and it's all good. It doesn't matter. I'm really excited to hear about what you have to ask and what you have to think. So, how do the animals feel about getting their little bits chopped off? I mean, sorry, but you know, it's true. You know, it's boop boop. You know, so. Let's first look at why we do it. And there's several reasons, and some of them I'm not going to be able to mention, but these are the ones that I came up with. So why do we do the majority of S&Ns? And that's what I'm going to call it, spay and neutering, because it's too long. You know, the one reason is we want our animals to not to have to go into heat. Not to have to worry about them bringing offspring into the world, and quite frankly about us having to deal with the offspring. It's a lot, you know. There's a lot of animals that need homes, and then on top of everything else, we're adding to the situation. So we don't want them to get in the habit of spraying or marking territory inside or outside the house. I mean, yuck, you know. We want to keep the animal population down to a minimum because, you know, it can get, and it is at this point, it's a little cuckoo. It's a little cuckoo. There are a lot of animals in shelters, and we want to be able to get them homes as quickly as we possibly can, as many of them as we possibly can. Another reason is we don't want our animals to become aggressive. We don't want them to you know, get dominant or too aggressive with us or with the other animals in the house. Another reason is we want them to just simply have a calmer, happier life. And, you know, to a certain extent, many of us, it's part of the caregiving in our relationship with them. And that's in the episode 16 that I did a few weeks ago. 10 weeks ago, actually. So, you know, there's many reasons why. And of course, there's some people who do it because they're, you know, they don't have the animal's best interest at heart. They come from a selfish place. They don't want the animal causing, you know, too much damage in the house. And they're concerned about their, It's all about them. It's not about the animal. Of course, we have some people like that, but this is the majority of the reasons why people do it. So how do they feel? Well, it's not so cut and dry. Sorry for the pun, but it's not. It's not so straightforward. There's a lot of different animals that I've talked to over the years for this reason. Excuse me, I'm going to cough and it's live. Gonna have to edit that out later. So there are many different animals that I've talked to, both wild, domesticated, those wild who are in captivity. And there's many different facets. So it's not the same across the board, at least for the animals I've talked to. It's not the same across the board. And it's not about making you feel guilty. It's about bringing their insights, their experiences to light so you can get an idea and we can grow from it as humanity. So some domesticated animals that I spoke to, both pre-op and post-op, have been fine with it. They're okay with it. They understand. They see it as a way for them to be able to put their full attention on their person and give their attention fully to their person without having to worry about or being concerned about procreating. Okay, so they see it as, hey, this is just me being able to be the animal companion that I want to be. That's a lot of animals. That's a lot of domesticated animals. Now, some domesticated animals who had the SNN done will have it done and have a harder time understanding why. And because of that, they might show some unwanted behaviors. We talked about unwanted behaviors a few episodes ago. Because they feel like they've been put upon. They feel like they're not quite understanding why this part of who they were has been taken away. Their right to choose has been taken away. And it took them a little longer to get with the program, but many eventually did, and many eventually do. So now some animals talk with great relief that they didn't have to be concerned with this anymore. These are usually the animals who come from breeding situations and, overbreeding, being overbred. And a lot of them are just like, thank God, let's do it. Let's, let me drive the car. I'm ready to go. Okay. Let's do it already. Okay. So they move into that kind of like situation. Now there's some animals that, it also depends. It also depends on the types of domesticated animals. So for example, animals like stallions, like bulls, like steers, they might have a harder time with it. Not always, but some of them might have a harder time with being gelded, as opposed to spaying and neutering, because it is so, they are bred to be this. They are bred to be breeders. They are bred to be, to pass along their generation, to pass along their prowess, to pass along their virility. And when that's taken away, a lot of them can have a really hard time adjusting. And the really hard time adjusting can then be acting depressed, can then be getting even more aggressive or acting out. It could be them acting and being in almost like a place of like neutrality, where they're just in this like what's the state I'm trying to say? This I don't give a crap anymore. Just this like whatever kind of dazed and confused kind of state. And I'm going to take your questions after, so feel free to type them. And some of the questions I'm going to be answering. But one question that Jamie has is, does it depend on their ages, baby versus adult? And I'm about to answer that question in a second. You're psychic for a reason. So that's what's going on with that. Now, the domesticated animals, there could be, some that are just, they're a mixed bag. Okay, so they've come from a feral situation, so the thought of spaying and neutering almost frightens them. But then they become in love with their person, and they come to the decision that at the end that it's all for the best, and they let go of their virility, so to speak. So that's another reason. It's a mixed bag. There's nothing that I found cookie cutter about this question, and it's very, very interesting. So then there are the wild animals. And they are a lot of them are in a totally different mindset. Now, many wild animals, especially those, I'm talking about those in captivity, those who are out in the wild, don't even, this question isn't even, it's not even viable to them. They're like, why would I even consider that? And I'll go into that a little bit more. But many animals in captivity are not crazy about the idea. And they resent it, and they're angry about it. Many see it as an encroachment on their rights as to be wild, to be free, to try to tame those things within them that are untamable. Now, not all. Again, it's not cookie cutter, but you have to understand the wild animal's mentality is to be wild, to be free, and not to be domesticated, not to be tamed, not to be taken down a peg. So when it happens to them, there might be some of them, a lot of them, that have a hard time with it. Now, here's the other thing. Many wild animals, their hearts are their heats are what signal much of their joy of life. It's a rite of passage. It's one of the reasons for living, to be able to bring their species to be able to continue their line. That's what makes them who they are. So that's why when you talk to the wild animals, they're going to be like, why would anybody, what? Why would anybody want to do that? I don't understand. So they just don't get it. It's not something that they would understand and want to do. It's like taking something that's deeply ingrained in another culture and bringing it to another culture who has no experience whatsoever and expecting them to line up with that and know what the heck you're talking about. They're not going to understand. They're not going to get it. So now the feral animals, the ones that are on the street cats, the street dogs, now they're a mixed bag. Some are grateful for it, okay, because it is difficult being out on the streets and being in heat. It's a lot of, you're not only are they the ones that are in heat, are they looking to be satisfied, but they're also calling in, a lot, and it can be exhausting. So feral animals, again, are a mixed bag. Some have resentment, some, and eventually understand and make peace with it. Some don't want it at all, and they fight it, and they fight to stay feral. Some of us all know some feral animal that we couldn't get our hands on to help them, and they were like, no, I'm outie. Okay, I'm not trusting, I'm not dealing with this. This is, they're singing Born Free in their hearts. Born free. And that's me singing, and that's as far as I'm going with the singing. Okay, that's it. I can't believe I did that. All right, and not without a drink. Anyway, so the feral animals are a mixed bag. And some of them don't want it at all. Now, some domesticated animals who are older sometimes have a tough adjustment period because they have been that way for a while and they are scared of what they're going to become. It is when you have been in a certain way, just like a person has, some people have trouble with change. Some people adapt to change. Some people embrace change. Some people are terrified of change. They're not sure about what's going to come next. It's the same thing for the animals. You know, somebody who's online right now, her dog, Veronica, her dog Chase, just got neutered yesterday. And Chase has been around the block a couple of years. He's not a puppy, all right? So I had a conversation with him before, and he was having this, you know, he had to mourn and he had to grieve. I know it sounds crazy. They're grieving their balls, but it's true. He had to grieve his maleness. What was making him male? And talking to him and lining up with him, and now, you know, he feels much better. He feels much calmer. It's not as bad as he thought it was going to be, because animals too, they make things in their head. They make things worse than it is. Oh my God, this is going to be the worst thing ever, you know, just like humans do. So, you know, those are some of the things that happen. Now, some simply, I asked my cat Sacred this morning. I asked her beforehand. I didn't neuter her. Or spay her. I didn't spay her. She already came spayed. But she was a little itty bitty. She was about, Sacred was about like 3 months, 4 months old, something like that. I can't remember. I have to look back in my notes. Anyway, I asked her, how did she feel about being spayed? And she's like, I don't remember it. It's like I've always been like this, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm okay. I'm good. So they simply don't remember, and they don't have any negative thoughts or experiences about it. So do I think age plays a difference? Not always. Again, not always. But I think if you come into a situation where you have been this way a longer time, I think many have an easier time letting go of what they might have been briefly, as opposed to what they might have been a long time before, for a long time, if that makes sense. And I understand, you know, you adopt an animal. This doesn't mean, you know, you adopt an animal, oh my God, he's not spayed or she's not neutered, or, well, I got that upset. Let's switch that up. Oh my God, he's not neutered and she's not spayed. Maybe I shouldn't get this animal. It's not about that, okay? And they're older, they're 7 years old. Oh my God, it's not about that. It's about what you can do to make it easier for them. So what can you do to make it easier for them? What do you want to do? You want to help these animals. What can you do? So understanding that maybe not all animals will automatically be happy skippy about spaying and neutering. You know, that it's not going to be all just like maybe smooth sailing. Now, I know I talked last week about the stream of well-being, or 2 weeks ago. I get that, okay? And animals do line up with the stream of well-being much easier than people do, but sometimes they have a little bit of a lag period. So not everybody's going to be happy skippy about the idea. They're not all going to line up with it. They may have some grief. So it's important to allow them a chance to process and feel it. Asking them their opinion on it before you do it. Letting them know what's going to happen is huge in any process, any procedure, whether it's dental, whether it's, spaying or neutering, whether it's, getting their toenails clipped next week, whatever. Sometimes it helps them. Animals are very put upon. They're very assumed at. Oh, I'm just going to assume that he's going to line up with it. He's going to be okay with it. I'm just going to presume that, the animal is going to want to talk to me. When I do an animal communication session, I always do a series of few things. First, I introduce myself to the animal because I think it's good darn manners. Okay. Second, what I do is that I always let them know why I'm talking to them, what's going on, that I want to express their feelings and thoughts and opinions to their people, maybe to the world. And third, I ask their permission. Will you talk to me? I don't want to just go up to a person and just assume that, and start talking to them and just assume, that they're going to want to talk to me and it's going to be an in-depth conversation. And animals are put upon, so I always ask their permission. So I think what happens is that if we talk to them, and whether you feel like you can do it or not, or you have to hire an ACer to do it, an animal communicator to do it, whatever, let them know what's going on, what's happening before it does. Animals will appreciate you for that. They will love you for that. They might not love what you're doing with them at that moment, because nobody's going to be like, some are, I'm getting spayed. Not all of them are like that. So let them know what you need for them and why you need this. Why are you doing this? What's going on? What is the outcome from this? Do a healing session with your animal before and after. All right? Whether it's me, whether it's somebody else, I don't care. Just get them some healing so that they can line up as quickly with their stream of well-being as possible. Now, animals in captivity should be talked to too, I think. They are working with extreme stress. They're working with grief. They're working with other strong emotions, and just being in captivity, from just being in captivity. So anything to lessen that should be done, in my opinion. So as I said in the beginning, on this topic, there's no one answer. But that's because, the animals are multifaceted with many, many different personalities and many, many different insights and many, many different ideas about things. And but discussing it with your animals, taking them, asking them their concerns, their thoughts, their feelings, their experience on the subject will help them not only to adjust to it before it happens and after it happens, but to adjust to it maybe years down the line. How did you feel about this? What did this make you feel about? It also helps them line back up with the stream of well-being faster. And it will make them feel like their voices are being heard. So that's my take on episode 26. 26. So that's 26. That is the stream of well-being. Yeah, well, the stream of well-being's in it, that's for sure. But it's about spaying and neutering and how the animals that I've talked to, how the animal kind I've talked to, how the animals that I talk to in captivity feel about it as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. So now I'll take any questions, any comments. And, oh, by the way, just to let you know, I don't know if I said this before, and I might have, so I apologize for repeating myself, but after I had the conversation with Veronica's dog Chase, and after I did a healing session with him, he hasn't been licking the wound, at least as far as yesterday. Veronica, if he has, then you let me know. He hasn't been licking the wound, and he feels much better. Like he feels relieved in his mind that he was at least given the chance to understand, and he appreciates that somebody took the time, his person asking me and me doing it, took the time to talk to him about it so he knew what to kind of expect. I mean, I didn't give him a blow by blow or a ball by ball. Sorry. Play on it, because I am not going to go into that, even though I've done a few of them being an vet tech. But, he's feeling much better. Veronica says he's still chill. He's not bothering with the wound. Awesome sauce. Jamie says, yes, I love that. Awesome. So, I know you had a question, Jamie, and I'm pretty sure I answered that. So I hope I answered that. And if anybody has any other questions, let me know. Type them out. You can also type them out at the end when I post this video goes on my Facebook page. Now, there's a few things that I want to tell you. So next week is episode 27. You're welcome, Jamie. Next week is episode 27. 27 is going to be something I just came up with last night, so I interjected it into the list that I have. And I think it's pretty important, and I love it. And actually, it came from my ginger boy, Tau. He was the one who kind of gave me the idea. So thanks, Tau. It's about chilling out. What do the animals do? What can the animals do to help us chill out? You want to chill out? You want to know how to do it? You want to know how to be it? Look to the animals. And next week, I will show you how they do it, giving you some examples about how they do it. So that is going to be episode 27. Jamie says, is there a specific time that is best to spay or neuter them in the animal's sense? I need clarification on what you mean by time. Do you mean time of day? Do you mean time of their life journey? I need to know specifics. Jamie says I need to watch episode 27. We all do, sister. You know, we all do. So give me specifics about what you mean by time, please, and I will answer that question. In the meantime, what I wanted to say was this. I have just started and put up some things I think are pretty exciting, and I call them one-on-ones. These are 3 different courses I'm doing, because people are constantly asking me, when am I doing a course on this? When am I doing a course on that? Well, these are courses that are to the 10th power, because these are one-on-ones. What that means is 3 hours of a course in animal communication, a course in intuitive studies, and a course on healing abilities, healing modalities, all with me. 3 hours of a one-on-one course where I will teach you everything I know about the subject. I will, as much as I can in the time, and I'm going to teach you a lot, okay? You can ask me questions. It's all recorded. These courses are now available on my website. And the website is, of course, my name. So it's www.corielkramer.com. Now, Jamie has said, age, life journey. I'm just going through all of them. So her thing was, is there a specific time, age, life journey that is best to spay or neuter them in the animal's sense? Great question. I would say that in domesticated animal senses, probably before they go into their first heat. Only because if you don't experience something, you're not less likely to miss it, if that makes sense. So before they go into their first heat, again, wild animals in captivity, totally different experience. They might appreciate that, they might not, because again, they are a wild animal in their being, in their soul. And even if they're on the Las Vegas Strip, that is still a wild animal. I don't give a bird's patootie what you got. If you got 2 men riding him like a freaking pony, it still doesn't matter. That is a wild animal. Whether they were born in captivity too, that animal's heart is still wild. May not know how to experience the wild, but is still a wild animal. So that was that. Thank you very much, Jamie. Awesome question. So The Animal Experience has its own Facebook page. It has its own podcast page on both Google Play and iTunes. And the Facebook page is a place where I wanted to make sure everybody can go and watch whatever videos they want to, because this is going to be going on for a long time. So we're already up to episode 26. Well, 27, because 27 is next week. So, you know, if you're watching them there, please leave a review. Let people know that you're enjoying them, what you think about them, what it helped you to understand, so that other people can see and say, oh, well, maybe this is something I should check out. And feel free to share as much as you want. Okay? So, for a session or a reading, you can also go to my website, CorielKramer.com. If anybody has any more questions, please feel free to post it on the video. I'm happy to answer your questions whenever I possibly can. I am still updating these videos. What I mean by that is these, you know, I'm giving myself 50 videos to really get the way I want this show to go. So there's still new stuff I'm going to be doing. And I'm not just talking about topics, but backgrounds and music and all this other kind of stuff that I want to bring in. And I want to make these things fresh and happy and good. So I hope you enjoy this journey that we're all on. And I hope you will continue watching no matter what. And until next time, I'm wishing you and your animals a wealth and a wonderful week of experiences with one another.